All right. So, welcome to class 3, exercise 3. And we're going through the exercise this time. We're going to go through all the steps here, and I'll try to give a bit of an explanation. But first, by way of context, we saw in the previous exercise 2, we saw that you can log in as a regular user and then go to the administrative page and create a user as an administrator or do an administrator function. In this case, create a user uh, just the same. In other words, you forced the application to drive, right? Because there's no navigation. So that's one thing you worked around. You forced the application to go there. But number two, there is no uh, controls. There's no function level controls to say, okay, this function is reserved for administrators. In other words, the administrator pages don't care who comes in, who's logged in. It does ask you to log in, or it requires a cookie. And even there's some still problems there, but the admin interface.php file does not care if you're a regular user or an admin user. So let's go again and see that. We're going to log in as the regular user. Right, I'm going to do this one on the VM this time, not on the not on my desktop. So this is how you would normally do it, because this is where I have all the settings for Burp, and Burp is already configured here to work properly, and so I'm just going to do it on here. But okay, so I'm gonna have the settings still open here for Burp just in case I need to turn them off. And I'm gonna go to webapp.php, and I'm gonna log in as student. And of course, I'm a regular user, so it takes me to the regular user interface. And guess what happens once I go from here to admin interface? Whoa, I can go in here. And you remember from the last exercise, I created Dumb and Dumber as another user. So basically, we are demonstrating that yes, this is broken. And the reason this is broken is let's look at the PHP code here in admin interface.php. I'm going to open this in something more readable. So if I come here in admin interface.php, you will notice that in the main code, we are checking for a cookie. And if, we retrieve the cookie, but um, if the cookie doesn't exist, it says no cookie detected. Bye bye, go back to login page. That's it. But if there's a cookie, we'll keep showing the rest of the page. So the application doesn't die. It continues to the rest of the page. Well, we don't want it to go to the rest of the page. We want it to stop here if you're not an administrator. And so that's how we are going to fix or attempt to fix the application. And so you can go through the rest of this. You can talk about serialize, and we'll talk about serialize in a minute, but actually that is a useful thing to show. So let me show that really quickly. If you can also, uh, you see the information here this is actually pulled from the cookie, but if you go to, oh my gosh, I'm so not familiar with how this works. Where is the menu? Okay, there's a menu somewhere. Oh Lord. Let's see, what do I want to do? No, that's not what I want to do. That was a bad idea. Right. I want to go to uh, more tools, I think. Extensions for developers. Okay. I don't want to go back. Oh gosh, why is this so hard? I'm trying to show the developer tools. It's not that hard, for the love of God. Okay, I'll show you the developer tools on my desktop, because otherwise we're all gonna grow old here. So here on my desktop, you should be able to go to. Let's log in. The same thing. Of course. Of course, because I changed the settings. Let's turn off the proxy. Okay, and then we're also going to say no, that's not what I want. I'm trying to show, what am I trying to show here? About config. Sheesh. Okay, it's late. Yes. Network.proxy dot allow. So it's false. Okay, so those are here. So it's false. So now I should be able to go to browse to places. Okay, so yes, I can do that. Okay, so now I can log in from here and I can say student. And what I really wanted to show you is the cookie. This is not so hard. View, tools. I guess I didn't end it. Yeah, extensions for developers. No, that's not what I want either. You can tell I don't use Firefox a lot. Okay. Remote debugger. Web developer tools. Okay, well that should not be so hard. I guess it was just easier in Chrome. And somewhere in here you should be able to see the cookies. Docket on the right, and it's not inspector that I want. It is cookies. Anyway, somebody's got to find cookies in here. Oh, there it is. Look at that. There's the cookie. So if you go to storage, you can see the cookies, and the cookie for this particular site happens to be a super cookie, aka a very long string, which is encoded. So it's URL encoded so that it's basically valuable as can be passed as a URL. It's serialized into a string. This is similar to base64 encoding, but it's WebZone specific version. So that's the point of that. Let's go back here. Okay, so again, what we're trying to do is, yes, we have the cookie, and they are recommending this particular fix. So we can actually check. If you look in the example or the class, it says, look, put an if statement, and if the role for the cookie is not the admin user role, then stop the application. That's what we want. Stop showing the rest of the page. So I'm going to copy this because I'm lazy. And I'm going to go to my little editor. And inside this if statement, I'm going to add one more if statement to basically say if the super user cookie role not equal to admin, then die. However, you will probably notice very quickly that this admin user is not defined. So guess what we have to do? Define admin user, and we're going to define that as admin user. This is what our setting is in the database and in the application, that this is an admin user. So now we're going to go back in the exact same interface here and refresh the page, and guess what's, oh sorry, I actually do need to be to the if I go here to the admin page, guess what's going to happen? Will I be allowed or not? No, it says you are not an administrator. Naughty, naughty. So if I say here, you're not an administrator, dude, just to prove that that's where we're getting this from. If I do a refresh, it says you're not an administrator, dude. If I go into the VM, the same thing here. I already went to the admin interface, even though I'm logged in as a student. So now I'm just going to refresh the page and see what happens. No, refresh. Okay, again, the same. You're not an administrator, dude. So yay, us, we fixed it. Or did we? Maybe we didn't fix it. We're going to leave this the same way, and we're going to leave it fixed, quote unquote, fixed in the code. So we're going to leave the code fix in place. It seems to have fixed it, but there still is a problem. So if you keep reading on through the rest of this, it complains about the fact that this is a client-side storage of the role. So we're actually depending on the role to come from the client side because the role is coming from the cookie. If you look here, we are saying basically we are getting the cookie data and we're saying, hey, the cookie, just give me the role from the cookie, and I'm going to compare that to the admin user. Is that a good idea? No, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea because we are depending on user data that we haven't verified that can actually be manipulated. And that's exactly what we will do in this next portion of the exercise. So we're going to continue on here. We're going to turn on the burp suite, and you can go through this is the way they recommend it. Obviously, I just double clicked on it and ran it. So we're going to go and enable the proxy settings, and we're going to enable this hack, and then we're going to view the page again, and it's going to get stopped before we make the request. The request will get stopped, and we'll make a little hack inside the middle of the request and let the request continue and see what happens. See if we can still see the admin, if we're still blocked from seeing the admin page, or if we are allowed to see the admin page. Right now we're blocked from seeing the admin page, right? We're blocked from seeing the admin page. So we're going to go here to settings and turn the proxy settings on so we can go through the burp. So that's okay. We're going to go here and turn this to true. Okay, so that's good. We cannot see it, right? I can do refreshes. Oh God, I can do refresh as many times as I want. There you go, the other control. So I can refresh, nothing. We're blocked. Goodbye. Application super secure, right? Wrong. So we're going to come here and turn on the intercept and just leave it running for a second, right? We're going to come back to our application and try to go there again. Oh, again, wrong thing. Okay, try to go there, and this pops up, says, wait, I intercepted something. All we are going to do is we're going to change here. If you look very carefully and use a magnifying glass, somewhere in here it says something about a role. Where is the role? Role, right here, role, right? And the role says regular user. We're going to change that from regular user. Oh yeah, nice thing is you can hover over it to kind of get a human readable thing. We're just going to change this to regular to admin. Admin, okay. Now we also have to change this here. This is the length of the string from %3812 to %3810. That's what the note is in. And then we're going to say, okay, continue on. Oh my gosh, look at that. We saw the page. Even though a minute ago we were not able to see the pages. We didn't change anything. We didn't undo the code. We didn't fix the code. The code is still fixed. We didn't break the code. The code still says, no, you cannot see it unless you are a admin. But we managed to do this as regular users to get back to the admin interface even after we fixed the code, because we depended on the cookie to tell us, to confirm who the role of the user is. And we were tricked along the way, right? Along the way, burp introduced a little wedge in there, and we were able to change the role right in the request, and then the application was not any the wiser. So if I turn the intercept off and I try to reload the page, oh gosh, again, that same thing. Okay, notice that's it. All I have to do is turn the interceptor on and off. So if I turn the intercept on and I try to reload, and I make a little change here. I can modify the cookie, and I can modify the cookie to, and the application behaves differently. That is bad because uh, I'm essentially able to circumvent um, admin. I'm able to circumvent security policies by just um, modifying the cookie. Say forward, and voila. Okay, so that's it. That is exercise number 3. We have shown the problems here. Yeah, you can read through this, but essentially this is exactly what it's doing. And here's where it tells to change it from a 12 to a 10. And notice you end up back on the admin page, which you should not be doing. So even though we can fix all the SQL vulnerabilities, we can fix all the checks, but if we're depending on bad data, we have bad results. Hope that helps. That was one of the longer ones. It was pretty intense. I hope you enjoyed that. It was thrilling. I loved it. Okay, it was awesome. Enjoy.